Hi, everyone. I am Denise Boyd, and I help busy mamas like myself find ways to make money online, but I also merge that with mindset because I believe that if your mindset ain't right, the paycheck or the income will never be right. So it's all about making sure that it all works together. So today and every Wednesday, I will start showing you different things, programs, etc., that you can use to get started in your own business. So I'm starting from the very beginning, showing you all things that I wish someone would have had out there for me. So this is video number 1, and it is so important. So if you have decided that you are going to start your very own business, congratulations, because you are taking the first and the best step in your life, right? Because everyone is actually a business. You are a business. You are your first business. Everyone has what they need to make an extra income outside of what they're already doing to earn income. Or if they're not earning income, for example, stay-at-home moms, if you are staying at home and you're not earning the income right now, then this is something that you can use to get started, especially if you have an idea. So everything that we do starts with an idea, whether someone gave it to us or we just had the idea, etc. So today, I'm going to actually show you how to get an EIN number, which is an employee identification number. And what this does is it kind of gives your company or your business the number that they need. It's almost like what our social security number is for us. It identifies us. So that number would identify your business. And it is so important that you have this before you actually file for a business license. And in another video, I will show you, even though I've probably shown you before, I will show you how you can get your business license prepared by experts for free. Yes, you will probably or definitely have to pay the state fees because they cannot pay those for you. That's something you would pay for, but you will get your business license for free, which is amazing. So what I'm going to do is share my screen so that you can see how to get to this for free. So first off, let me say that there are so many people that will try to charge you for an EIN number. Never, hear me, never pay for an EIN number unless you really have no clue of how to fill this out. But I'm going to walk you through it, so don't worry. So when you go to Google or whatever search engine you want to use, you can type in get an EIN number or just get an EIN, doesn't matter. So once you do that, you will see different things pop up. And when you see these, scroll past these. So these are ads. These are people who are trying to get people to click on these and actually purchase things. So these are probably things that you may have to pay for, and meaning that there'll probably be people that are going to prepare it for you. Now, if you'd rather someone else prepare your EIN number for you, that's fine. But if you'd rather do it yourself for free, you can do that. And honestly, all you have to do is find it right here. So you can see irs.gov, which is where you'll get it from. But this one right here is the number. So irs.gov, small business, self-employed, etc. It really doesn't matter. But if you click on one that is an IRS site, it should take you there, or at least get you close to there so that you can find out exactly where it is that you need to go. So now that we have that loading here, as I said before, do not by any means pay anyone unless you do not want to do this yourself. All right, so it'll take you through some things like determine if you're eligible for this. If you are trying to get a business, then you definitely want an employer identification number. So it tells you right here, you can apply for EIN online if your principal business is located in the United States or US territories. So if you wanted something like this in a different country, you can do that, but that's not what this is for. This is to get you started here in the United States. And if you are applying, you have to have your own valid taxpayer ID number. For most of us, it's your social security number, but for others, maybe your ITIN or if it's actually a business, get another business, EIN, etc. And you are limited to one EIN per responsible party per day. So you can't get a bunch of them in one day, which most people don't, but some do, believe it or not. So then you're going to go here, and it talks about understanding the online application. So you have to complete it in one session. And I promise it shouldn't take you more than one session to get it done. But even if you don't, you cannot return at a later time. You can't save it. So you want to do it right away. When you start, just go right into it. And if you don't finish, just go back, not a big deal. So your session will expire 15 minutes after 15 minutes of inactivity. If you haven't been doing anything for 15 minutes, it's going to stop and you will need to start over, but fear not, you're still going to be okay. And then you would submit your application. So there are other ways to do this. You do not have to do this online. But this is the one that I suggest. If you want to mail it in or do all those other things, I can show you that another time, or you can let me know in the comment section if you want a different way to do it online, and I will give you the link to show you how to get there. But for now, if you are ready, all you have to do is go right here to apply online. And like I said before, it's totally free, free 99. All right, so there may be some things that you want to do. So this is going to come up and you have to pretty much press OK. So this is actually being monitored and they're letting you know that this is monitored. You press OK, saying that you are aware of that. And then you can use this assistant to apply for and obtain an employer identification number, EIN. You can click here, do I need one? If you're starting a new business, you're going to need one before you can even file for that business. Do you need a new EIN? That totally depends on if you are starting a new business or not. All right, so the EIN assistant, of course, tells you a little bit more. A lot of it is what I just said, how you can't save it and come back. And after 15 minutes of an activity, you're going to have to start over anyway. And you will definitely receive your EIN immediately upon verification. And if you do not have Adobe Reader, definitely get that before beginning the application if it's not already installed, because it will give you a digital copy of your EIN number. And the only way to get it again is by requesting it. I actually had to do that. So speaking from experience, save that. Make sure Adobe Reader is downloaded and make sure that you save that EIN somewhere safe. And also put it somewhere else. Like I have mine in the notes of my phone, just in case I need to go back and get it. All right, so there are restrictions here, but you all probably will not have to worry about these restrictions as long as you are a taxpayer living in the United States, applying for a business in the United States. You should be okay, or even in the US territories, you're good. All right, so then you click on begin application, and then we're going to get this rolling. So as I said before, this is something that you should not have to pay anyone for, but you have to know what you're doing. So here's the question. What kind of EIN are you applying for? This is where it gets tricky. This is why a lot of people need someone to actually help prepare this for them and pay for it. But I'm going to walk you through all these things to help you out. So maybe my help will help you to not have to pay anyone out of pocket. So choose what kind of business or EIN you're applying for. So if you plan on being a sole proprietor, this is the one for you. So this was my first business and my second one, sole proprietor. And this is for someone who is owning something for themselves. They're in business for themselves. It's theirs. And if you are like a household employer, let's say, for example, content creators, YouTube or video creators, those are sole proprietors, and that's the one you choose. A partnership includes people who are working together. So, for example, there was a business that I was going to start with me and another person, and that business would have been a partnership or even a joint venture. So if you have like questions about what it is, you can click on that and it'll show you the stuff right here. So partners can be individuals, corporations, trusts, estates, and other partnerships. but each partner contributes money, property, labor, or skill, and expects to share in the profits and losses of the business, etc. So go here. So this really explains everything you need to know. But honestly, most of the people that I help really only need the sole proprietor. But let's just go look now. Corporations, there are different types of corporations here. So you can click here and it'll tell you, of course, a little bit about what a corporation is. So it's like something that's established by a person or group of people. Of a company, but it tells you stuff here. So read what's on up under whatever it is we're talking about or looking at, and then click on it so that you'll learn more about it. And then you have a limited liability company. So this is actually, well, I said mine was a sole proprietor, but it's very similar. So LLC and sole proprietor are very similar. So LLC company is actually like a sole proprietor because you're by yourself. And LLCs are actually, in my opinion, a best bet or better than a sole proprietor. Because with the sole proprietorship, what happens is the business does not exist separately from the owner, which can kind of mess you up when it comes to taxes and or possibly being sued, which hopefully that doesn't happen to you. And the limited liability company, what's different is it separates your liability from your company's liability. So if someone sues you and you're a sole proprietor, that means that they could actually sue you personally. So they're suing you and your company at the same time. So whatever you have, they can take if it ever comes down to that. But if you do a limited liability company, even if you're by yourself, it's kind of set up like a sole proprietor. You kind of get taxed the same way. But if you are ever sued, they can only sue the company and not you personally, unless you personally do something, of course. But other than that, they can't sue you. They can only sue the company. So that's something that's good to know. So with the LLC, there can be no more than one active LLC with the same name in the same state. In the same state. And this is important to know. If there is a name that you want that's already out in your state, you can't use it, but you can use a name in another state if it's not here, if you're interested in it. I'm not saying do that, but if you want to do that, you can. So for all of these, though, you have to have a name for your business. So I will tell you, my current one, of course, is Danny's Boyd. It's just me. I branded myself. It's easy and no one has my name. So I was able to do that. But you may be able to brand yourself, especially if you're actually doing an online business. So I would suggest it, but you do not have to do that. You decide what's best for you. So the next one, of course, we have estates. And this is something that happens or is created as a result of someone's death. And then you have trusts, custodianships, guardianships, etc. And then there are additional types, but honestly, the main ones that you all are going to probably want to look at is sole proprietor, partnership, limited liability company, and maybe a corporation in the future. But we're going to click on limited liability and we're going to press continue. So it's going to tell you exactly what an LLC is right here. So just take a few minutes, look at it, read it, and it tells you that it can have 2 or more members. And for that, you kind of have to structure how each person owns, like how much of the business does each person own. So if it's 2 of you, it can't technically be a 50-50 split. It has to be like a 51-49 split at least or more. So that's one thing to look at. But you can have as many members as you want, and however many members you have, they share a portion of the business, but you get to decide who owns what portion. So if you're not doing this by yourself, you want to ask your members about this before doing this, or you should do this together. So it is not incorporated. So you do not have to file articles of incorporation. And that's actually something that I was happy I didn't have to worry about. But if you want a corporation, go ahead and do that. So now it's going to ask you how many members are in the LLC. I'm going to say 1. And then where is it located? I'm in Alabama, so I'm going to put Alabama. And then after you do that, you're going to press next. And then it's going to tell you some things about what you're doing. So my company would be considered a single member liability limited liability company. And that's pretty cool. Like it tells me, and then it tells me since I am a single member LLC, I will initially be classified as a disregarded entity for the purpose of filing a federal tax return. And you can always Google some of these things if you need it. So what that means is that my stuff can be pretty much filed on the form 1040 form. And then I would have to use a Schedule C, E, or F, which is, not so difficult. So if you are already doing something like this, if you're already doing like a 1040 form, then you can easily add a Schedule C, E, or F for your business expenses. Now, if the only member of the LLC is not an individual, for example, if it's a business as an LLC, then the income and expenses are reported on the owner or member's tax return. And then there's more right here. So definitely look through it. But I'm trying to tell you the things that I feel are most important, that were at least most important for me. So then you're going to press continue. And then you're going to tell me which one, or tell them, you don't have to tell me, which is the reason that best describes why you're applying for an EIN. Are you starting a new business, hiring employees, banking purposes, changing the name of organization, type of organization? Are you purchasing an active business? Like which one are you doing? And you can do all these things. So I would click started a new business. Now, some people already have businesses, which is interesting because you're supposed to really have an EIN. But if you have been working for yourself, you don't have to have an EIN at first, especially if you're doing like freelance things. But if you truly want to make sure that your business is started and you're getting the best tax advantages, then I would say click the one that says started a new business. And then you can also say satisfying banking requirements, but either way, it really doesn't matter which one you choose, but I'm going to click on start a new business, and then you're going to press continue. And then they're going to ask you for your first name, last name. You can put your middle name or initial in there if you want to, your social, and then you're going to explain who you are. So here's the deal. I'm not going to go through the rest of this because I promise it's simple, but for the address or addresses, same thing. You're going to type in your address. And then you're going to type in the details of your business. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you this part so that you can see it. So now it wants to know the legal name of the LLC. And so you will type whatever the name that you have for your business, and make sure that whenever you're filling out other things, that you go ahead and have the same thing. So whatever name you choose for this EIN, keep it the same everywhere else, especially if you have not actually filed for a business license. And then this is a trade name, doing business as, if it's different from a legal name. For example, my main business is one name, but my doing business name is another name. And if you do a business as, that is actually going to keep you from having to pay a different fee. For example, doing business as licenses are actually cheaper than actually getting a LLC license or a corporation license or a sole proprietor license. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, of course, it's going to ask you where you stay, when it started, etc. And then it's going to confirm your EIN, and that's when you're going to download it and save it. So literally, that is everything. That's everything. So what I'm going to do next Wednesday is I'm going to show you how you can go ahead and use that and apply for a new business license for free. Well, the preparation will be free. However, you will have to pay the state fees. But instead of having to pay the state fees and paying for someone else to create that business license or prepare that business license for you, Or like me, since this wasn't around when I first started mine, I had to deal with a little frustration. I actually had to turn mine in a couple times, probably 3 times. It took me 3 times to get it right. And I don't think I'm slow or anything, but it took me a minute and I didn't have anyone to actually show me how to do it. So if you don't want to worry about that, you don't have to worry about that. You can let someone do that for you. Now, of course, you can always, thanks to the power of video, rewind and come back to this as you need. And happy new business to you. I'm so excited. Thanks so much for watching. And as I always say, stay peaceful, positive, and productive. I'll see you next time.